Resume your seat, please. Deputy McGrath, no, you can't. Resume your seat. Thank you. Resume your seat, I said. I'm not responsible for the replies. Resume. Deputy, I won't ask you that. I won't ask you a second time to resume your seat. I won't ask you a second time. You're expected to respect the chair like everybody else. Deputy McGrath, thank you.
Gormagot, Concola. Taoiseach, yesterday the heads of the protection of the life during pregnancy bill was discussed in this House. It was condemned by some as a positive compromise and condemned by others as not going far enough. I want to suggest that both approaches are seriously flawed. Indeed, the very content of the bill in its current form undermines the very rights that it sets out to protect. I raise this with great respect, and I hope to get respect. I want to speak on behalf of people.
Would you please allow the deputy put his question? Thank you. I know, I'll deal with it. I'll deal with it. Please, now deputies, will you stay quiet? Deputy Lawler, please. And I won't ask you again a second time. Now, please. Now, would you please... Deputy Martin, will you please allow me to do my job and you do yours? Thank you. Thank you very much. Deputy McGrath.
Councillor, I can say that I had to write to you last week, Councillor, you do your job the best always, but it's not being allowed, it's not being fair enough over here.
I'm looking after it.
Cormac. It does this by framing a piece of proposed legislation which completely ignores the weight of medical evidence and which demonstrates beyond a reasonable doubt that abortion as a treatment for suicide is harmful to women and favours an ideological position not supported by facts. Taoiseach, it is also proposed that certain hospitals will be designated to perform these so-called terminations. But what will be the position if the hospital refuses to perform these terminations? If it conflicts with the established ethos of those hospitals, as set down in many cases by contractual agreements between the HSE and indeed those hospitals. What then? The bill contains a conscientious objection clause for individuals, but will the same apply to institutions that cannot in conscience perform these procedures? I suspect this is simply one more demonstration that the bill is profoundly unworkable and risks an enormous level of government intrusion into the practice and integrity of our health system. The whole situation speaks to the lack of equality between the lives of mothers and the child as laid out in Article 43.3. The bill also requires that the abortion can only be granted in the reasonable opinion of two psychiatrists, that the risk can only be averted by this procedure. So it is asking psychiatrists for a reasonable opinion, despite the fact that the vast majority of them have already stated that this is unreasonable.
Thank you, Deputy.
Well, as the Deputy knows and the House knows, the Government have approved the heads of a bill which is intended to protect the lives of women during pregnancy. Every year, thousands of women in Ireland give birth. It's a happy occasion. It's a cause of great joy. But there are occasions when things go wrong. And in those cases, women are entitled to know that they will get the treatment which will save their lives. And the doctors who treat them also need to know that their position is clear when they take action to save a woman's life during pregnancy. The heads of the bill will be referred to the Oireachtas Committee on Health. I would invite Deputy McGrath to put the case that he has made here now and the issues he has raised to that committee, and indeed to take the opportunity when the bill is before the House to make the case that he makes. There will be a full debate on this bill in the House. There will be a full discussion of the heads of the bill at the Oireachtas Committee, and there will be plenty of opportunity for Deputy McGrath to make the points that he is making and to have them responded to by the Minister.
Deputy McGrath.
I am a member of the Health Committee, and I was at the meeting this morning, Taoiseach, and I will be making those points at that committee also. But I do hope that the Health Committee is not just going to be a stalking horse for the legislation and that we will be listened to, and the people who come before will be listened to. What is it that persuaded you, Taoiseach, to include a provision for psychiatrists to arrive at a position which they have already stated is not supported by evidence? In practice, will this not seriously limit the pool of mental health professionals who will participate in such a process, and thus leave the door open to that tiny minority who believe abortion will serve the interests of women? The evidence of every other jurisdiction in the world has demonstrated time and time again that despite the best intentions of legislators, and regardless of the alleged restrictiveness of the legislation, no government has succeeded in preventing an abortion-on-demand situation from occurring once the principle of targeting innocent human life is accepted. I say that honestly. I want to ask you this in particular. An appeals mechanism on behalf of suicidal women refused an abortion is contained in the heads of the bill. Since the unborn child has equal right to life, will there be room for an appeal on behalf of the unborn child in the event that two psychiatrists, in the teeth of the relevant evidence, sign the child's life away? And can the Taoiseach give a commitment to this in the interest of equality?
Thank you. Taoiseach.
Well, can I say first of all that the Health Committee, when it held its hearings in relation to this issue at the early part of this year, did so in a very dignified and a very reasoned way. And I expect that the Health Committee now, in considering the content of the heads of the bill, will address it in the same reasoned and reasonable way. And as I said yesterday, I think it's important that this debate is conducted in a very reasoned and reasonable way. Deputy McGrath has a point of view in relation to the bill. You will have plenty of opportunity, Deputy McGrath, to air that view both at the Health Committee, of which you are, as you say, you are a member, and in the debate here in the House. I think that is the appropriate place for the issues that you have raised this morning to be teased out in detail. The bill has been worked on for some time. It's balanced, it's reasonable, it is within the confines of the constitutional provision, the judgment in the X case, the judgment that has been given by the European Court of Human Rights. There is obviously detail that has to be and will be discussed here on the floor of the House and at the committee, including the issues that you have raised this morning, Deputy McGrath. And I think, in fairness, I think that is probably the best place to have that discussed. That's what the Dáil is for, that's what the Oireachtas is for, is to debate and discuss the detail of legislative proposals, and I expect that there will be plenty of opportunity to have the issues which you have raised this morning, which are really relate to detailed provisions in the bill, to have them fully teased out, and there will be plenty of opportunity for that to be done.
Thank you. That completes the leaders' questions for today.